The Massachusetts teen charged in a boyfriend's suicide appearing in court for a hearing. Prosecutors say Michelle Carter sent text messages encouraging her friend to go through with the suicide. But Carter's lawyers say she's bewildered over the involuntary manslaughter charges. And the lawyers say they're going to show that no crime was actually committed. Authorities say 18-year-old Conrad Roy died of carbon monoxide poisoning while sitting in his truck last July.
The sentencing phase is underway today after a jury deliberates just 5 hours to find Shayna Hubers guilty of murder. The 24-year-old former honors student shot attorney Ryan Poston, her boyfriend, 6 times. Prosecutors say she killed him when he tried to break up with her. Hubers now faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. Let's bring in our legal panel today. Fred TC is a former federal prosecutor. Brian Claypool, a criminal defense attorney. Thanks, guys, for being here today. Fred, the self-defense claim that the defendant put forward, jury didn't buy it.
No, they didn't buy it even a little bit, John. Rule 1, when you want to claim self-defense, don't shoot the guy 6 times. Also, don't shoot him when he's sitting down. The forensic evidence showed that he was sitting down despite her testimony that he was coming at her attacker. Oh, and by the way, if you want to claim self-defense, don't put yourself in a position where a friend of yours can come testify before the jury that a week before the murder you wanted to take him to a shooting range and shoot him there and make it look like an accident. She got exactly what she deserved.
Brian, you think that the self-defense claim in this case was actually a strategic mistake on the part of her attorney?
Well, John, realistically here, Shayna Hubers is lucky that she's not getting the death penalty, because in this case, the prosecution clearly showed that she was malicious by shooting. Not only did she shoot Ryan Poston, but she shot him again while he's on the ground, while his body is twitching. And then afterwards, John, she says, well, I gave him a great nose job. And then she tells a jailhouse informant, hey, I was going to use the insanity defense, but I'm too smart to use that, so I can't use that. So I've got to use a battered woman syndrome defense. Now, what that tells me, John, is that this is a woman who really is not mentally stable, and she should have used a diminished capacity defense here, that she's got some type of mental defect here to do this, and tried to plea maybe a manslaughter charge instead of murder. No question the jury got it right.
There was testimony, Fred, from a couple of psychiatrists, a defense and a prosecution psychiatrist, who agreed that she had abused alcohol as well as prescription medication, and that maybe there was some bipolar thing going on in her head.
Well, maybe, but I mean, look, the biggest mistake the defense made was they didn't hire Brian. That's the first mistake. The second mistake, and I'm not so sure it was a mistake, John, I guarantee you that they probably looked at this and decided that she meets the definition of sane for purposes of trial. She understands right from wrong. I mean, her testimony, the statements that Brian quoted are horrible, horrible, horrific statements that shows that the woman has basically a black soul or is soulless, but she knows right from wrong. She's not criminally insane. And she's guilty, and she's a bad person, and she should spend the rest of her natural life in jail. And Brian's right. She's lucky she didn't get the death penalty. 5
hours is a very quick jury deliberation in a case like this. I mean, most juries, when they're talking about a case this serious, Brian, they really take their time going through the evidence.
Well, they do, John, but I think it gets back to my point. Had the defense put on a better argument that Shayna Hubers had some kind of mental defect, maybe they would have deliberated longer. But I saw the testimony of this jailhouse informant, John, and Shayna Hubers was giggling after she shot him. She was, belittling the entire process. Oh, I should have used, insanity as a defense. And I think at the end of the day, Fred's right. The jury came back and said she knew exactly what she was doing. And John, thank goodness, unlike Dog the Bounty Hunter, who did a great job on Outnumbered, I'm a commitment phobe, and thank goodness she was not an ex-girlfriend of mine, or we wouldn't be talking.
Didn't help that the victim was supposed to go see a beauty queen on the night of. Had a date arranged with another woman on the night that
Miss Ohio.
He was shot to death.
And that's the difference between Brian and I. She would have gone out with Brian.
Fred TC, Brian Claypool. Thank you both.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for having me.